So I bought 9 guitars, all under 250 euros, and I'm testing these out to find out which one is the best. And at the end of the video, I'm ranking them from worst to best. So, 9 beautiful guitars. Maybe you started with one of these, maybe you're looking for one of these, maybe you're playing one of these and want to broaden your sound. So here is a comparison between these 9 models. So yeah, on guitar 9 we're missing something. So I was shocked to find out that the pickup selector just wasn't there. So I screwed it off, but it fell in and it just broke. Luckily we found the missing piece in the box, so it probably happened during shipping. So that got turned into an 8 guitar comparison, and what a big differences in sound already, right? But also in feel, it's night and day. So let's first go to the setups of the guitar. In my opinion, it's very important, since most of these will be bought by beginner-ish guitarists that may not feel very comfortable doing work on the guitar themselves. So if it's already in a playable condition, that saves a lot of trouble. So most of these guitars were really in playable condition with the exception of 2. The Harley Benton and the Ibanez Gio. So I really had to do work on the Ibanez to get it in playable condition. I noticed the neck had a severe up-bow, which wasn't surprising since there was no tension at all on the truss rod. So after fixing that, I had to lower the action significantly with still a mediocre result. The Harley Benton Strat felt quite uncomfortable to play it too. The neck is quite massive for a Strat, and that paired with a setup that just wasn't too good made it very hard to play. The tuners were also very stiff and it actually hurt my hands, but this may very well disappear after, a few months of tuning, but I'm not sure. So it just felt worth mentioning. So although the others played anything between fine and good, they weren't free of issues. Some had severe intonation issues, for example the Epiphone Les Paul. This resulted into high notes sounding very out of tune higher up the neck. But unfortunately, this wasn't the only issue on the Epiphone Les Paul. The volume and the tone knob were slipping. So the fact that it occurred on both surprised me. So fixing the nut underneath the volume knob fixed the issue for now. And maybe it is a Les Paul thing because the Cort Classic Rock C100 also had intonation issues. And I definitely know that guitars with a shorter scale often are a bit harder to play in higher regions, but this is just too much. Luckily, none of these guitars had weird finishing issues. They all looked decent and nothing really to point out so far, which makes me happy. So what's often a great tell of guitars is how well they resonate, even unplugged, and how the guitar feels in the hands. So not the setup, but the shape, like the woods, the balance, and how the neck works with the body. You just know it when you pick it up. So let's pick one up. So let's start with the Yamaha Pacifica, which feels very nice. It's a bit heavy, but unplugged it still sounds very resonant, which is often a good sign. The body is mahogany, which is interesting, and the neck is maple with walnut fingerboard. Playing it feels right. It's well balanced, the neck feels good. A pleasure to pick up, really. Oh, this one is lighter. So the Squier Affinity Strat. So although a little less, the Squier Strat also has a quite decent resonance. And definitely feels more like a Strat when picking it up. The body is poplar with a flamed maple top, which looks quite spectacular, to be honest. So because this is the Affinity series, you'll see better finishes and better materials than on the Bullet line. So the wood on the neck feels a little bit dry because it's not lacquered and it's not as comfortable as it would be playing a Fender, but I mean, we can't complain. So, next up. So the Harley Benton Strat is heavy, it's super heavy, which is strange because the body is basswood, which is considered to be a lightweight wood. But anyway, the weight in combination with the thick maple neck makes this a little less resonant guitar by itself. So the lacquer feels nice. I think the neck looks killer. The wood looks beautiful. The lacquer is really great and it feels nice. But super heavy. So next up, the Epiphone SG. This is such a fun little guitar. It just feels right. It's lightweight with a popular body with mahogany veneer over it. So it still has the mahogany looks. The neck feels right. I tried it out. There's no neck dive, which surprises me. And the cherry satin finish, I think it looks pretty nice. Yeah, cool. So the Les Paul, on the other hand, had a little harder time convincing me in terms of feel. The same poplar body and the mahogany bolt-on neck, the same as on the SG, by the way. That's also a bolt-on neck. There's nothing wrong per se with the Les Paul in terms of feel. It feels okay, it feels quite balanced. It's pretty light for a Les Paul. Probably because of the thinner body, but it reminds me more of a Junior than a Les Paul. Talking about Les Paul. So here's the Cort CR100, and funny enough, this feels more like a Les Paul than the Epiphone Les Paul to me. Maybe because this model does have a mahogany body, which we traditionally see on Les Pauls. It feels nice to play, the balance is okay, is good. It feels kind of resonant. And it's not super heavy. So yeah, for Les Paul that's a win. I think it just looks and feels nice in the hand. So, the Squier Telecaster Bullet. So this is almost the cheapest of the bunch, and to be honest, I cannot tell that when I'm playing. It is kind of crazy the guitar they can make for that amount. The body is elder and it packs a maple neck. Don't really notice a big difference in terms of feel between the Bullet and the Affinity series. Just by looking at it, you can definitely tell the difference because the plastics just look a little bit more cheap. The nut, you can definitely see it, you can feel it, but when you play, you don't really feel it, if that makes sense. So, now the Ibanez. So, after adjusting the guitar, it feels so much better. The neck is thin and slim, although it feels a bit wider. To my hands, it's not super comfortable. The guitar has a nice balance though. The body, which is mahogany, is quite light. Maybe a bit strange, but I feel like the maple neck and the body aren't friends somehow. Yeah, more on that later. Here's a short message from today's sponsor. So if you're a beginner or novice guitarist, or maybe feel like you've skipped the fundamentals of learning guitar, I'd love for you to take a look at my guitar course, Learn, Practice, Play. It's a carefully designed roadmap to take everyone to the next level of playing guitar. Going through 7 core modules with over 55 in-depth videos, including workbooks, tabs, downloadable backing tracks, chord sheets, and so much more. Teaching you everything you need to know to become a great all-round guitar player. Check it out at Learn, Practice, Play. And now back to these babies, because now the moment we've all been waiting for, the tone. And although this is pretty subjective, I guess. I feel like we can say at least a few things about each guitar and what, in my opinion, are the best sounding guitars. We're not comparing the Strat directly to the SG, but more like how a Strat should sound, or how we think a good Strat should sound, right? I hope that makes sense. So first, we take a look at the S-type guitars, the Strats. They all sort of try to do the same thing, and in my view, there's definitely a winner and a loser. Maybe two losers if we count the Ibanez. So the Squier Stratocaster sounds like a Strat, no surprises there. But it does sound a bit thin and lacks some of the fatness you want coming out of that neck pickup. And although there is a humbucker in the bridge position, it sounds a bit shrill and thin too, to be honest. There is some oomph, so you can definitely run it with some higher gain and it sounds quite okay, but unfortunately the neck pickup does not give you that creamy spank, that bellsy sound we all love. The guitar that has all that cream, it is the Yamaha Pacifica. So the neck pickup sounds full and rich. It is a little bit louder, but not in a bad way. It's not too loud for a Strat. It does not have the vintage Strat thing going on, but that's not why you would go for a Pacifica anyway, I guess. Overall sound good and balanced, and it's a very versatile sound. Now to the Harley Benton. So this is the only Strat with a single coil in the back of this bunch, and I hate to say it, but it had a hard time delivering. So the bridge sounded quite shrill and thin and oftentimes felt like unusable. The neck pickup lacked some of the punch and smoothness, and it was a bit lower output compared to the others, but that didn't result into the sparkliness we love in Strats. It felt a bit dull and lifeless. Maybe it has to do with the weight of the guitar. It just had a hard time resonating. It wasn't really vibrant. And now to the last Strat. I mean, we could call this a Strat, right? The super Strat. So the Ibanez. So I kind of feel bad for being so negative at this point, but I just gotta be honest. So the Ibanez sounded just weird. When playing that intro lick on all the guitars, same thing, I had to do a few takes with this guitar because I felt like I was on the wrong pickup by accident. Just have a listen. So this is just the neck pickup, and it sounds sort of hollow, sort of out of phase thing going on. You just don't expect that sound. The bridge pickup does sound quite okay though, especially when going for a bit higher gain tones. There's definitely some life in there. So, the Squier Bullet. So the bridge pickup of this guitar is just awesome. It feels like the Tele and it makes you play like a Tele. On the other hand though, the neck pickup sounds like rather dull and lifeless. I definitely think that the price of this guitar, you know, compared with the tones, it's good. It's definitely good. So now to the Epiphone Les Paul. There's definitely some mojo in this guitar. So the bridge pickup works well and feels balanced. It just does that Les Paul thing. bad it falls apart when going to the neck pickup though. It's too woolly, too boomy, no articulation left and just feels a little bit underwhelming. Especially compared to that cooler bridge pickup. Now to the little brother. So the Epiphone SG, and we were quite blown away by this little monster. So both the neck and the bridge pickup just had that mojo written all over it. Well balanced, worked really well with different pedals, from clean to drive to higher gain, from chords to leads. I think this guitar just pretty much nailed it. So we both thought that the classic rock did the Les Paul thing better than the Epiphone Les Paul. It had more beef on the bridge pickup. The neck pickup was still relatively articulate, maintaining some of that high and that spark. Pickups had a thick output and worked really well with some lush overdrive, and overall it reminded me a lot of the Les Pauls I've been playing. More than the Les Paul by Epiphone, which had more of a Les Paul Junior feel. Before ranking each of these guitars, I need to say this. So when making this video and putting these guitars through their paces, I had to really zoom in on the instrument. So I might have become a little overcritical at some points, but I just had to do it because the differences is in the details. But here's the good news, because most of these guitars would not hold me back from playing at all. I often just played away for 30 minutes before I realized, oh yeah, I'm making this video. I was just playing guitar and enjoyed myself. And that makes me very happy, because you can definitely buy a great guitar for under 250 euros these days. And I feel like manufacturers cannot really get away with making bad guitars because the competition is just too strong. So after this video, I'm donating all of these guitars to high schools and music education where they're always in need of new instruments. So hopefully these can help out students that can't afford a guitar themselves. And I'm gonna make sure that these will be used extensively in the future. So here are the guitars ranked from low to high. So at number 8, maybe it didn't surprise you, the Ibanez Gio. So we didn't rate it because it just sort of didn't pass the test, we felt like. And I think it is just this model. It may be worth playing it at the shop and it may not have any of the issues we had with it. It surprised me because I played the Ibanez AZ series, which I thought was a great guitar, but unfortunately it was just a little bit too expensive for this video. At number 7 with the 6.2, the Harley Benton S style guitar. Great looks, playability was okay after some refinement, but super heavy and not resonant. That compared with the reasonably thin sounding pickups make this not the easiest Strat to recommend. It is very low in price though, so it might be worth checking it out after all. Number 6 with the 6.8, the Epiphone Les Paul. So not bad at all, plays well, sounds quite good on the bridge pickup, but man, that neck pickup just didn't do it for me. So in combination with the loose knobs and the intonation issue, made this come in at number 6. And now to number 5, with a very decent 7, the Squier Affinity Strat. Not really big downsides to this guitar. It played okay, it sounded decent, it looked good, it missed some depth though. But if you're looking for a comfortable playing guitar on a budget, then this can very well be that guitar. But maybe compare it to the Squier Bullet series too. So now to number 4. Oh, we're getting higher. With a 7.2, the Cort Classic Rock. So this is pretty much what you can and want to expect when talking about a budget Les Paul. It has the bad boy looks, it does the bad boy sound, doesn't underwhelm on the neck pickup, and it plays well. And now going to the top 3. At number 3 with a 7.3, the Squier Bullet Telecaster. There is something about this guitar that just works. It's fun, and maybe because you don't expect anything from it, like it doesn't really have the looks right, let's be honest. makes it so much more surprising that it just sounds like a Tele. It feels like a Tele. I mean, you could definitely feel it is a British guitar, but the model itself is always a bit more down to earth and basic, so probably that's why the basic feel wasn't an issue. Alright, and now to the top two. Coming in at number, it's a tight first place. The Epiphone SG and the Yamaha Pacifica. The Epiphone SG and the Yamaha Pacifica both getting a very respectable 8. Just lovely guitars for the value. We've said enough about them, I guess, but I really feel like you can't go wrong with these. So the Pacifica is very versatile in terms of sound and plays really well, and the Epiphone SG just has tons of mojo and is a fun guitar that really gives you everything you want from an SG and maybe just a little bit more. So what do you think are great budget instruments? Do you own one of these and want to share your experience? Please do let me know in the comments. And if you would love to see a video best guitar under a 500 or maybe 1,000 euros, do let me know too. I'd love to make it. And for now, I wish you a lovely day. Cheers.